Shalom, Kohalo Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bahashim Rakal Kwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us His truth. And Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that are pushing the word, the truth, and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. This lesson is going into how people have no clue what the hell is going on right now. All right. The world is going to hell in a handbasket, as they say, but people either refuse to see it or they're just blinded right in front of their face. So let's get 2nd Ezra 16 and start at 21. Behold, victuals, all right, things that you need to survive, products and things that are on that supply chain, if you will, food, all of it. Like Granny used to say on the Beverly Hills, victuals. Victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. So just because you can go out and, if you can't see that they're manufacturing a famine right now with all the food plants and food distribution places and farms and stuff blowing up and being set on fire, if you can't see what is coming, then you're blinded. All right, so everybody thinks that, well, it's going to be all right, it's going to be okay. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Abortion, okay? What do they call it? LGBTQRSYZ, right? Raising up and pedophilia, just things that teaching children in school about sex at the age of what, 4 or 5? Just evils are growing upon the earth, right? Shit is just crazy out here, right? Sword, famine, and great confusion. There's great confusion. Babylon, the land of confusion, right? Babel means confusion. On means land. This is the land of confusion. And they're going hard as they can right now. And with every day that passes, you got the distractions that all lead back to some sort of ritual, right? You got the witchcraft is at an all-time high, even though it doesn't work on us, on the hopeful elect. All right? Let's read this one more time and watch a video that I thought was pertinent to what is going on right now. Okay? People are totally disregarding the war. And if you know anything about the scriptures, it says that the least of the flock shall draw them out. Well, the least of the flock is Amalek. And people don't know. People think that Amalek is just in Israel. No, they're in the Ukraine. All right? They've been working on 2 homelands now, going back to 2013. That's what that whole situation down in the Donetsk, or whatever they're calling it, that war that's been going on, goes back to the small hats, the Amalekites, trying to repatriate the Ukraine because that's their homeland, going back to the Khazarian Empire, right? And people don't understand that, all right? Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Everybody thinks everything is cool, but if you see behind the curtain, the setup is on, right? The war is taking place right now in your face. You don't even know that it's World War III. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth. It's just the witchcraft is is at an all-time high. Sword. What is sword? That's the war. These munitions, these weapons. Famine. Can't see that famine. And great people have no clue what is going on. Let's get this real quick. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this. This is old Johnny Storm here at Don't Speak News.
Israeli troops arrive in Ukraine to fight Russia.
Israeli troops arrive in the Ukraine. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this. See, in World War II was about the Nazis, was it not? So if you understand that World War II was about the Nazis, then why is it that, okay, the Nazis are dealing with World War III? And see, America is supporting the Nazis unknowingly right now. And it's crazy. All right. Okay, I can't seem to find this. So let me see. Let me get that real quick. Can't believe that. What is this? Okay, YouTube. Hold on. I have to touch on this real quick.
I wish I would have had
to understand. So lucky. You got to understand what is going on in the Ukraine and who is in the Ukraine. All right. Where's Johnny Storm here? Right here. Got to go back here. Where is it? Bear with me real quick. Let me get this. I think this is it here. Slovakia. You know, I don't know if this is still up. It's old now. Let me see. Okay, yeah, here it is. Okay. Now, what is this? Jews return to Khazar, Ukraine. Okay, those are the Khazars. Let's look at this. When Ukraine was run by the small hats. Oh, I don't know if this is it. Why is this darkening? They're doing something to Johnny's page. Let's read this real quick. When Ukraine was run by so-called Jews, once upon a time, a king decided that Judaism was the one true religion, but the Khazar kingdom didn't last long as Kagan bulleted them. As Ukraine writhes in crisis with sovereignty over Crimea hanging in the balance, see, we're talking about Ukraine, right? It's an apt time to revisit a time when the religion was a Jewish, who's that? It's the Amalekites, kingdom. Not that this is a call to Israel to throw its hat in the race for control of Crimea. The Crimean Peninsula has changed hands and rulers time and time again. Da 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 da. It goes into, and it looks like they kind of. Oh, here we go. So if you read this, you understand that that's their homeland. Okay, that's the homeland of the small hats. Okay, this is the Khazarian Empire. This is an old map, right? Who are the Khazars? Well, those are the people in Israel right now. And what they're doing is they want two homelands. Okay? Now let's read this real quick. Okay? From the early centuries of the first millennia, the Khazars of Eastern Europe were known as the diabolical serpent people. And now the nation of Israel has admitted that its people are indeed the Khazars. The admission by the Israelis that the Jews are not related to ancient Israel, but to Khazariah was reported in the Times of Israel. Leaked report, Israel acknowledges Jews, in fact, are Khazars. Now listen to this. This is what I'm getting at to let you know that this is the least of the flock drawing them out. Ukraine fighting against Russia is the least of the flock drawing them out to start World War III. They're not doing it from Israel, they're doing it from the Ukraine. Secret plan for reverse migration to Ukraine. March 18th, 2014. Okay, that article by Professor Jim Wald related that the Israeli leadership in Jerusalem is sending military equipment and settlers from Israel to Ukraine. This is back in 2014 when that war started. So for, 8 years now? They've been moving the small hats, the so-called Jews, the Amalekites, have been moving back to their homeland, the Ukraine. So now we see this war that is World War III escalating, and you see all of these people sending, all these different countries sending arms and munitions to the Ukraine. That is a world war. Started by who? Started by the Amalekites, the least of the flock, is drawing them out. It's not going to happen from Israel. Not that it's not going to happen from Israel. It's going to happen from there too. But it's happening right now. Okay? Yes, the Valley of Yehoshaphat is in the Middle East. It's going to happen there too. All right? It's called a world war, but it's starting now is the point that I'm making. It says that article by Professor Jim Wald related that the Israeli leadership in Jerusalem is sending military equipment and settlers to Ukraine. The Jews have taken charge of that ravaged country's government and finances and intend eventually to make the Ukraine a second homeland for the least of the flock. Their plan, leaked by government insiders, came only after not a Jew and his cabinet reviewed growing DNA genetic evidence that the Jews are not the descendants of Abraham. They are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. Okay? So we know the truth too. Instead, they came from Khazariah, of which Kiev, Ukraine, is the centerpiece. In fact, the so-called Jews of Israel and the U.S. are of Ukrainian heritage. Well, they're all Edomites. Ukraine is the heartland of Khazariah. So do you see what's going on here in Ukraine? Who are the Ukrainians now? They're the Amalekites. All right, so now, with all of that being said, now let's look at this, all right? Let's watch. This is what they call the super edit, or the whatever they call it. Canadian Prepper. This is getting out of control. And they're going to show some world events that are leading up to World War III, which is already in play, and people have no clue, right? All these things are coming together and can't be stopped. And of course, at the very top is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So let's watch this. Okay, so Putin's doomsday plane. What? Doomsday? That sounds familiar.
столь мал, что лишь одной орбиты Сармата достаточно, чтобы его утопить раз и навсегда. Все уже почти.
Some residents are starting to fight back, seemingly fed up with the prolonged virus restrictions and food shortages.
What's going on in China? Well, they say that they're preparing the population for war. What is all this lockdown and taunting, and what are they doing? They're preparing the population for this coming war. See, because what people don't understand is when war happens, guess what? In your country, people they don't agree with what's going on, they start acting up. So you got to whip them into shape now. For example, during World War II, what did they do to the Japanese? Well, they locked them up. Did they not? Okay, so, I mean, and then they can call anybody a traitor. If you ain't with the program of the U.S., you can be called a traitor and locked up. You think the FEMA camps are for, right? China blames protests on USA. Tensions increasing. This activity is a conspiracy directed by foreign agents. See, so, hey, propaganda, all right, info wars. We're at war. Shit is spiraling out of control. Directed by Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. Look at this. We hope everyone can distinguish between right and wrong and reflect their demands through reasonable change. Meaning, look, here's right. Here's what we say is right is right. What we say is wrong is wrong. We'll throw your ass in jail or kill you if need be. All right? And this is what it said. Evils shall grow upon the earth. And we're watching that.
Temperatures hitting record high in the month of April, coal supplies dwindled, and the region witnessed widespread power cuts.
A senior Ukrainian official says his country should not sign any peace agreements with Russia. Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council, Alexei Danilov, said an exception can only be made for a peace deal if Russia surrenders. He also stressed that the conflict will not end soon and the turning point has not come yet.
We're at war.
This is a full...
Salakia. We're going to watch a little bit. This is only a 10-minute video. Let's see. See how we'll do it.
If he does anything in regards to unconventional weapons.
They're talking about nukes here. This is the United States. The U.S. stands with Ukraine until victory is won. What? Wait a minute. We just showed you that the Ukraine are the Nazis. Okay? Ukraine are the Nazis. But we're standing with them? All right? I'm going to do a World War III update video, and it's going to be about the Ukrainians are the Nazis. Full blown. And we're supporting them. We're giving them arms, money. All right? And people in America don't even know that the Ukrainians are the Nazis. And what sense does it make? The so-called Jews are the Nazis. What sense does that make? But that's what's going on. Confusion. Great confusion. Didn't the scripture say that? It says, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said at a news conference in Poland after an unannounced trip to Kiev, where she met Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. What is going on? Okay? The Azov Battalion are outright Nazis, and they're waving Nazi, they're waving swastikas. They have a new swastika. The NATO is flying the same flag with them. They're all in it together. They know that they're Nazis, but the American people don't know. So watch the World War III daily update from today, which today is the 5th, yeah? Cinco de Mayo.
Dealing with anything like chemical weapons or any kind of strategical nukes, all bets are off.
Listen to this Negro. You don't have a horse in the race. But here you are doing the bidding of the devil. Let's watch this again.
If he does anything in regards to unconventional weapons, dealing with anything like chemical weapons or any kind of strategical nukes, all bets are off. We're not going to back down to a bullet.
Who the hell voted Mike Tyson in anyway?
Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So guys, you're going to have to pardon my absence yesterday. I woke up feeling like absolute garbage. Fever, hot, cold. I was weak. I couldn't barely get out of bed. Chest congestion, the whole 9 yards. I was a mess. I don't know what the hell happened. It hit me right away too. And as fast as it came in, it seems to be subsiding now. So with the help of some over-the-counter medications propping me up, I'm able to function just enough to squeeze out a video today because
Plague is out there, okay? They got pathogens. Hey, everything that is said in the scriptures coming true.
as we approach the 0 hour, guys, time is of the essence, and it appears that NATO is going to war with Russia. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen.
And it says that in the scriptures. All right? Ezekiel 38.
Even the Russian people themselves, according to my sources, are starting to conceptualize it as a war with the United States and NATO. It's not just a war with Ukraine anymore or a demilitarization of Ukraine. It's a war with NATO and the United States. This is what they're viewing it as. And as we approach Victory Day on May 9th, if you don't know, that was the day that the Russians declared victory over Germany in World War II.
And the Nazis. Does that sound familiar? How did Russia declare victory over the Nazis? And they're fighting them today. Okay? Watch the World War III daily update I'm about to make, because this guy goes right into, he completely exposes that the Ukrainians are Nazis. Okay? And the Ukrainians are Jews. How does that work? All right? What do you not know about what's going on?
People have speculated that they're going to declare a full-scale mobilization and declare all-out war on Ukraine. And if that happens, then it's likely that Kiev is going to be toast, and it's going to be a different kind of war at that point. However, the Kremlin denies this. They insist that these types of suggestions are nonsense, and that their only concern is doing their special military operation. But remember when they said that they weren't going to invade Ukraine, and they just slapped that label on it, special military operation, right? So it makes me wonder what sort of euphemistic term they're going to use when they do declare all-out war on Ukraine, or NATO for that matter.
The euphemistic term that they're going to use is called World War III.
I have an acquaintance who flies munitions for the State Department, and he was telling me that the shipments have ramped up quite a bit in the last couple weeks, and that they're not only shipping like the javelins and stuff anymore, they're shipping like howitzer ammunition and things that NATO is going to use.
What this is called, when you're in a war, right? There's something that's called logistics. Okay? You need gas for the tanks, and you need food for the troops, and you need bombs and ammunition, right? Well, it's coming from all over the world. It's coming from the allies, okay? The allies of the Ukraine, if you will, who is U.S., Israel, NATO, the EU. Okay. At what point do you take your glasses off and say, oh, this is World War III? And it's just logistics. All right? You can't fight a war without logistics.
Engage the Russians, so it's not looking good, guys. And we're seeing some of the biggest military exercises ever taking place throughout the month of May.
They're not exercises. This is the war. Under the guise of an exercise, war games, if you will. Okay? What was going on during 9/11? War games, exercises, drills, right? No, that was the cover story for the actual war that was going on. This is how they do it. All right? There was a stand down order at NORAD so that the planes can do whatever the planes were going to do. The drill was identical to the real, not exercise, the real reality, right? The so-called exercise was planes are flying into the World Trade Center. So stand down because it's only a drill while it was actually going on. So how can you then say that these are war games, these are exercises, and not war? It's war. It's not an exercise. Okay, that's propaganda that they're telling the people.
Large-scale military mobilizations on the Finnish-Russian border.
And that's just an exercise, right? No. Come on.
They're sending like half of their tanks to the Russian border.
In a
For an
crisis,
exercise.
U.S.
They're sending all them tanks over there for war games. No, sorry. It's the real thing. Okay.
Border. And so we're seeing one of the largest NATO exercises, 18,000.
It's not an NATO exercise. Right there on the war front. Come on now.
Troops from 20 plus countries, including about 7,000 on Polish soil.
No, it's called World War III. All right, wake the fuck up.
So these are some of the biggest military exercises that have ever taken place, and it's looking like the powers that be are gung-ho on getting us into a major war with Russia. And you're playing a game of chicken. It's only a matter of time before the bear bites back, man. I mean, I think because Russia has been showing a lot of restraint with what they've been doing, and I know for some people, if you're not paying attention and you're not in the know of what's going on, you're going to think
nobody's paying attention. People think themselves to be in good case. Okay? People are ignoring the fact that there's a famine being manufactured. There's a war going on. People are going about their daily business. Not even care. Oh, well, that's happening over there. It's not going on here. It is going on here. You think that this place is going to stay a virgin? I don't think so.
What do you mean they're showing restraint? They're, leveling cities. And yes, you're right, but they're still showing restraint in terms of what they could bring to bear. They're not using any of their nuclear weapons. I mean, they have 5,000 nuclear weapons. And you have Ukraine now who's demanding Moscow surrender. Can you believe that? They want Moscow to surrender. So they went from wanting to negotiate a peace treaty to even making some concessions. And then they got reined in by Washington or something. And now they're demanding that Moscow surrenders. Like, this will never happen. So that means that this war is going to go on and on and on. And it's only a matter of time then before Russia pushes the button. Because if NATO continuously fuels the war machine out there, the Ukrainian war machine, if they continually send shipments and they try to bleed Russia dry, well, what other option is Russia going to have but to use some of their bigger guns? And it's a scary thought, but it seems inevitable at this point that that's where this is going to go. Because it's only escalating on every possible front. It is escalating. And it's not looking good. Not looking good at all.
Okay, that's good. Let's get some scriptures. I went a little long the other day and nobody wanted to watch the video. It was an hour long. All right, so Let's start here. Let's start again at 17. Woe is me, woe is me. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 17. And Ezra is saying, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, hey, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a minute, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth. We're watching it. Sword, famine, and great confusion. Okay? People have no clue. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword. What's the sword? Okay? These weapons, guns, howitzers, bombs, nukes, and the dead shall be cast out as dung. There shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. What is Ukraine looking like right now? Bombed out buildings. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of who? Men. Why? Because they're fighting each other. So that, in World War III, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the cleft of the rocks. As in an orchard of olives upon every tree, there are 3 or 4 olives. There are 3 or 4 olives. There are left 3 or 4 olives, Salakia. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days, there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. This is going to affect everybody, all right? And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways, and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars, what? In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. The wars. And their husbands shall perish of famine. They're setting the famine up. Okay? Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. All right? Warn them of me. All right? So, hey, we're here to know that these things are going down right now, and why, okay, is the stability of thy times. All right? So with that, we hope that this lesson was edifying to the elect, you brothers and few sisters, and with that, we can say shalom.